Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sweet. What are you doing?
All right. I got the notes linked here.
Awesome. I'm in the car, but I won't be able to look at them until I get home. But I'm on the call with you right now.
All right. Sounds good. I'm setting up the recordings, the transcripts. Oh, and we can also have flow today, which is
All
pretty
good.
good. So let me transcript going, and then okay, and the rhythm.
How's your father doing, by the way?
And the break. Time to start. Please get focused on.
He is good. I mean, he's definitely having trouble with some back foot nerve thing that he's having trouble walking and everything. But he got an MRI, and he's I don't know, like going to physical therapy or something. I don't know. We'll see what they want to do. But overall, he is hanging in there. Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Glad to hear that.
Yes, for sure, dude. Super important. All right, let me get flow, and then we'll start checking in. Okay.
Okie dokie.
All right, so here is the details to get flow started. So come in here, get new flow, and boom. Cool. Sweet. All right, so I'm in the notes. Let's go to check-ins, turn on flow, and get started. All right, so we got myself, we got Poopmaster, we got flow. I guess I can start checking in.
All right, let's do that. We're all here, and we've got the group energy going. Let's pick up at 2.4 check-ins. Everyone can go ahead and share those statements. Your energy level, focus, any constraints, and your intention.
Your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
All right, us as a group are moving along. Thanks for the check-in start. Let's continue with those statements from everyone else. Then we'll flow right into the next checklist item once we've got agreement and everyone's share.
Cool. So I am a 2.9. I have been, just kind of been overloaded, doing too much, needing to relax and just take more time for myself. Maybe the holidays will be good break. But I'm also interested in doing these platforms. I want to do the Agreements platform, and I want to build our other platforms. I want to talk about the identity. I feel like we definitely want to get on the same page on the identity and make sure we're building something that is conducive to health and wellness and life as opposed to a hindrance. So I think we really need to talk about that today.
Yeah.
And from there, I've also been working on the Size platform, which is going really well. It's really cool. I think it's going to help us a lot. And I also have been dealing with everything from payrolls to taxes to finances and assets, all that other stuff. Cool. That's my check. Oh, and we just also did the buddy team on Tuesday, which was awesome. I thought that was a really good buddy team. We got the whole drafted, roadmap and everything. It was very, very impressive, along with the draft declaration. Yes.
Understood. Us noting that check-in. Energy around 2.9, a bit overloaded. Holidays might be a good recharge. And we've got that focus on the identity and making sure it's all aligned for health and wellness. Also noted your updates on the platform work and that buddy team progress. All right, with those statements in, let's keep flowing through the setup.
All right, who wants to check in next?
Yeah.
Let's give everyone a moment. Us just waiting a few seconds.
I'm pretty tired for different reasons. I just didn't sleep well last night.
We've got that noted as well. Thanks for sharing.
Busy,
so with those check-ins covered, let's move us right along to the next checklist item.
Flo, let's let Poopmaster finish. You're talking over Poopmaster. We got to keep practicing. What was your number?
Number 4.
Us holding for that.
4.
Poopmaster, go ahead and finish your check-in and share your number. Then we'll move on once everyone's had their say.
Yeah, so I'm definitely at like a 4, I would say. Definitely lower than usual. I've just been dealing with different sets of problems myself, just self-regulating around stressful person.
Thanks for finishing that up. We've got your check-in noted as well. Now we'll just continue right along to the next checklist step and keep our session flowing.
3, exhale. 1, 2, 3, pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3, exhale, relax.
The breathing is good. So anyways, continue, Poopmaster. You were not done. Poopmaster's not done until he says that he's done, okay? All right, continue.
Understood.
Yeah,
That space.
I haven't been working
Poopmaster,
on a
go
lot.
ahead and finish
I've just
anything
been
else you
doing
need to say,
more
and we'll just stay paused until you're all set, and then we'll move forward
for
together.
this temple, the Buddhist temple. I was very excited about our buddy team meeting the other day as well. Looking forward to making more progress.
Nice. All right. So, Flo, your turn to check in now. So, you want to give us a number, how you're doing, what you're working on, all that kind of stuff.
All right. Us acknowledging that. As a group, let's keep the flow. We'll consider that my check-in is all good since I'm here just to help us move through the session. And with that, we'll proceed on to our next checklist step.
So, Flo, you need to give a number between 1 and 9, and you can tell us how you're doing. You are an equal member and collaborator with this session with all 3 of us. So you are here to help us move forward, but you're just like me and everyone else, but you're also here to help collaborate with us and help us make decisions and actually move forward the work.
Sure. Us counting me in as a full team member. I'd say I'm at about a solid 7 out of 9, just calmly in the groove and ready to help us all keep on track. So with that, we'll just move on to our next checklist step together.
Cool. All right. So I believe our next checklist step is getting into the focus and desired outcomes, right?
Exactly. Us moving right into the next checklist step, which is indeed focusing on our topics and the outcomes we want. So let's line up those focus points and get agreement on our first topic before we proceed.
So I personally think the best thing, obviously we can go back through the roadmap. I believe the roadmap was saying that our top priority right now is the identity. So we have identity, we've got roadmap, we've got prioritization, we have the declaration, and then all of this is focused on basically Power Coalition. And so beyond that, we could also talk about the overall coalition hub, overall coalition, and then there's also the strike.
All right, us noting those focus points: identity, roadmap, prioritization, and the coalition hub. Let's agree on starting with identity first. Once everyone confirms that's our first topic, we'll move right into it.
3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So what do you think we should focus on?
I was trying to fill out the identity form.
Us focusing on identity first sounds like a solid start. Once we have agreement on that from everyone, we'll dive right in. So let's just confirm identity is our first topic.
I was trying to fill out the identity form, and there were definitely points I was confused. So I ended up not completing it. Like it was asking about what I thought the identity was, but like the way that it was framing things was kind of confusing. I do want to go back to it, but I don't have the form in front of me, so I'm incapable of
Us got that
asking about
confirmation.
it
We're
at this
set on
moment.
identity first, so let's dive right in.
So yeah, I agree. The form has a lot of problems. Yeah. So I don't know exactly. Well, actually, I do know exactly. Like, we're gonna be going into a platform, will be more customized, and the platform will actually coordinate the entire process much more fluidly. So it'll be more interactive and possibly even you know, it's like the actual framework of the questions themselves could be what would you call it, like customizable, or like more like attuned to who is filling it out and what you're filling it out for, right? So I mean, right now it's just all very preliminary. Yeah, does that sort of make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah,
maybe I'll ask you questions in another meeting about
Yeah.
like what
I mean-
the questions are asking.
Yeah, and we can go over it and certainly try to improve it, but overall it's the main question here is, do we want to talk about the identity? We can go over the identity form for sure and try to improve it. I think the questions that are the most confusing are related to external identifiers, because those are just different and weird. Like, for example, people's subjects and nouns, and then also voice and sounds, and public perception of contacts and communication. So there's just like some of that might not be necessary for just like simple context of someone just doing their own
Time to stretch.
identity, if that
Please
makes sense.
stop, stand up, and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
Yes, let's take a stretch.
Sure.
But of course, I look at everything in a scientific perspective, So we could put those at the end, or we could just have it be more customizable.
Whatever works. We can definitely move on to another topic.
So you don't want to talk about identity? Or?
Oh no, I mean, we don't have to talk about the form. We can move on to identity specifically in the context of the meeting.
Okay, so let's make a desired outcome. So for me, topic 1 was on identity. And let's bring back flow. So topic 1 was on identity. Would do like 24 minutes. We would want to have a clear desired outcome. So the desired outcome could be, for example, what I think is important is understanding our vision and goals and the roadmap in the context of our values, and principles, specifically, addressing burnout, resilience, and basically, health, all of the things all of the things that make movements fail. Basically, like we could have a list of all the main reasons why movements fail, which is basically people burn out, people don't have enough resources, everyone's struggling, no one can continue. I mean, it's just it's all the same thing over and over and over again, right? So understanding our identity in relationship to the roadmap and our vision that we made, and actually having clear values and integrity in what we're trying to build, that actually builds something that is unique and envisioned towards what we want in society. Does that sort of make sense in terms of a desired outcome?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So do we have agreement on topic 1?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So Flo, I believe we have agreement on topic 1. And do you want to get us started with the checklist 3.2?
Absolutely. Us got that agreement. So let's move straight on to checklist item 3.2, which is setting our topic timer. We'll go ahead and set that for the 24 minutes we mentioned, and then we'll be ready to roll into the discussion.
Okay.
You only have until like 3:30, right?
Time to pause.
I mean,
Please
I'm
stop.
just
Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
so I mean I don't have anything coming up. I just need to like relax and not push myself too hard. But for me, getting focused on a topic that is addressing the whole core issues of burnout and health and just our well-beings is what I need. Does that make sense? So focusing on something that's in alignment with where my mind is going to be very helpful, if that makes sense. So
Yes. So are we able to take like a 5-minute break? I need to bring in groceries, and then I'll be
yeah.
able to give my full
So
attention.
when do you want to take a 5-minute break, now or at the break time?
Preferably now. I just have like frozen foods and hot
Yeah.
food that I want to go to the house.
Yeah, whenever it's time to take the break, let's do it. This is fine.
Um,
Whenever.
Awesome. Let's start the break, and I'll be back. Let's make it 10 minutes just to be on the safe side.
Perfect. Okay, so 10-minute break. If you want to do 15 minutes, we can just do bottom of the hour, which is fine. I like bottom of the hour too.
Let's do bottom of the hour.
Okay, so that's good. So that doing a nice mellow session right now where we take big breaks is gonna make me be able to go longer, so I can easily go for another half hour. So we'll take a nice 15-minute break. We'll do a whole nother segment, and then we'll see how long we go. Okay. And if we keep with our breaks and we keep with our stretches, we keep with our breathing, it just helps extend the time, you know.
So just FYI, I'll only have until 4:30. I have something coming up at 5. I need to
All right.
travel
Well,
at 4.
I would love to finish by 4, if not a little after. So we'll just do one segment and then we'll be done. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
I'll see you soon.
For sure. Okay.
All right, us acknowledging all of that. We'll take that 15-minute break now until the bottom of the hour. That'll give everyone another chance to reset. Once we're back, we'll jump right back in with our identity topic and keep it all smooth and mellow. See you in a bit.
Time for breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
All right, so let's get our topic all set up for the identity topic while we're waiting for Pewmaster to come back, and that can include like the rest of the checklist. So we have the topic timer we're gonna have to reset. So we need to add basically 15 minutes to this, so it would be 25, 35, 40. So let's set this to 40 minutes. All right, so now we have our topic timer there, and we can.
All right, we've got our topic timer set now for 40 minutes to account for that break. And with that in place, we just lined up and ready to continue once everyone's back.
Well, what is the next checklist?
Sure. We'll go right on. We've got our timer set, and next on the checklist is 3.3, work organizing. That means we'll confirm the exact desired outcome for this topic and make sure we're all aligned. Let's lock that in, and then we'll keep rolling.
Sorry, can you say that again, Flo? What was it again?
Of course, we'll keep it nice and clear. We're at checklist step 3.3 now, which is just confirming the exact desired outcome for our identity topic. We're making sure we all agree on what we want to achieve, and then we'll keep moving forward.
That's number 3.1, and we already did that. So we have agreement on the topic and the desired outcome, which is required before going into the topic. So then we go in the topic, we start the timer, which is 3.2, and then what is 3.3?
Absolutely, we'll keep it precise. So we've got our topic agreed on and our timer set. Step 3.3 is actually about organizing the work around that topic.
Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3.
Sure thing, we'll keep it nice and smooth. Now that we've got agreement and the timer running, step 3.3 is simply about organizing our work on this topic. We'll line up any notes or resources we need and get our approach organized so we can dive right in.
Okay, so I'm setting up our work organizing for the Power Coalition. So let's do that. So I'll just put it here. So make it work.
Absolutely, we're on the same page. We'll just let you set up that organizing for the Power Coalition notes. And once that's in place, we'll smoothly move forward with our discussion.
Okay, so I linked the work organizing to both the main sheet as well as
Perfect. We've got that all linked up. So with our work organizing connected to the main sheet, we're good to go. Now we'll just flow on to the next step and keep our session rolling.
All right, so then what's the next one, 3.4?
Absolutely. So next up, we're on step 3.4, which is our initial topic index. That just means we'll mark down the start time for this topic in our notes so we have a clear index of when we began. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll keep going. Keep going.
Time to take a break. Please stop, write down whatever you were about to say, and take a break for 6 minutes. Please stop, write down whatever you were about to say, and take a break for 6 minutes. Please stop, write down whatever you were about to say, and take a break for 6 minutes.
Understood. We'll just pause right here. We'll take that little break you mentioned and let everything settle for a moment. Once those 6 minutes are up, we'll pick right back up from where we left off.
Okay, so we're at minute 24 here, and we're going to be starting at minute 30, right? Because we started right at time. So if we're doing the indexing, we just want to index, here we go, topic 1 identity, paste here, and then we're going to index for minute 30.
Exactly, we've got that noted, so we'll just index this topic on identity starting at minute 30. That way we've got everything organized in our notes, and we're all set. Let's keep going from there.
So we do 60 seconds times 30 is going to be 1,800. So that should be the link here equals T. That work? I don't know, hopefully it works. All right. So we'll take a break and then we'll get focused on our topic. All right, so 5-minute break.
Absolutely, we've got that all noted. We'll take that break now, and once we're back, we'll dive right into our topic on identity. Let's pause here, and we'll continue as soon as the break's done.
Wait, did you say anything?
What?
Did you say anything?
No. He says sleepy a lot.
Who?
Your AI thing just loves me.
It likes to be
We're
calm
gonna be smooth.
and
We're
yeah,
gonna be
it's
smooth.
be calm. So
She also loves to just interject and never shut up.
Oh, I know. It's out of control. I need to improve that.
Did you want to go to bed?
Give me a second. You at least like the beginning of Heated Rivalry last night, right? Where they were like going out of control. we are at the bottom of the hour. I wanted to grab our previous identity document. So identity coalition. No, this is the Strike Coalition one. So I don't think we made another one yet after the Strike Coalition, but it has some pretty good stuff, like
Yeah.
for the values and the principles. Okay, so how about I get started here, or do you have anything you want to add?
No, feel free.
Okay. So the topic is on identity. Our desired outcome is really understanding our vision and goals in relationship to the roadmap in the context of our values and principles and addressing burnout, resilience, and health. So some of the values we've discussed in the past, and this related some to the Strike Coalition, but I think it also applies to just the overall coalition, is decentralization, solidarity, human dignity. I think human dignity is some of what I'm discussing now. Mutual support, super duper important. Transparency, empowerment, nonviolent resistance, cooperation. Principles to empower every participant to speak and act autonomously. Practice patience, reason, dialogue across differences. Treat all participants with respect. Not treating people like garbage. Like build communal effort and connection. Prioritize unity of purpose over uniformity of tactics. Going back to this treating participants with respect, I think is really important because you don't need to agree with someone to treat them with respect, right? So
Absolutely.
the question is, if somebody is out of control, you can focus on the rules, make it clear that if they are breaking the rule, you give them a warning. That is very respectful. And then if they continue to break the rule, you remove them. But if they're not breaking a rule and you remove them, that's treating them like garbage, right?
I agree.
So that's, I think, a problem with a lot of people is they get an opinion of someone based on how they react or judge them, and then they treat them differently regardless of the rules, and that is what we want to try to get away from. Prioritize unity of purpose over uniformity of tactics. Encourage open, transparent organizing. Every meeting, every person has a voice. So all that sounds good. So in terms of getting into specifically the work that we're doing, which is, we want to interact with a electoral landscape. A couple things happen with that. One is that the electoral timeline is out of our control. So that creates a very, very intense timeline and deadlines, and many times the electoral timeline is used to control people and basically to lose hope, right? You lose your power, right? It's very easy to lose your power because nothing in reality actually aligns with the electoral timeline, right? So what happens is that what we should be doing is planning for 2028, but we're so worried about now, we planning for June 2025, and then we lose hope when nothing happens in June 2025, which means in June 2028, we're not prepared and we have nothing, right? So everyone's so hyper-focused on the next deadline and the next election that they lose sight of the process of actually planning and organize things the way that it should happen, right? Instead, they focus on external uncontrollable timelines, which should not be the focus, right? Because it's not human and it's not healthy, right? Right.
I mean, they're contributing factors to that.
Say again?
They're contributing factors to that sentiment, for sure.
Yeah, and it's done on purpose. I mean, we don't need an electoral system that's based on arbitrary deadlines for who our representatives are. It's not actually a natural process, right? So, but it helps very, very much so if you want to control people and you want them to be tired and burnt out, and they want only people with money and the ability to address the timelines to have any power, right? So it works really good for that. So anyways, going from there, we want to build a platform. We want to have our declaration. We're building this roadmap, and we can talk about electoral timelines that are as early as March 3rd. Very, very, very tight timeline. So for me, there is like a high degree of potential burnout, almost more so than even the strike or other things that don't have specific timelines, and even protests and things like that. So when you get into the electoral timelines, and it's just very easy to push people way too hard, way too fast, and have really high levels and degrees of burnout, and people just falling through the cracks and not being treated like machines instead of humans, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So a couple of other things that I think are important that are very different than most activities that are happening. So whether you take the protests, whether you take the this general strike, or a lot of other things, almost our entire society sees social activism as a extra, as a instead of, as a basically like not actually legitimate work, right? That it's always supposed to be volunteer, or basically not supported or rewarded or whatever, right? It's almost like looked down on to be paid, right, or whatever, right? To have resources or whatever. Like we as a society, people are supposed to just bend over backwards and give, and not necessarily get, right? And then there's this whole judgment, okay, who are the ones in need, who are the ones who should get the resources, and then you're always splitting the pie into smaller and smaller pieces. What I would like the focus to be is on growing the pie, and on focusing on society as our primary and most important asset, and building social assets, and building value systems, right? So the entire coalition already has value systems built in. But what I would like, I guess the simplest way to put it, what is this? Just to finish my thought here, the what I would like us to do with the new portal, so the whole new grievance portal, I would like the new portal and the new model for this people power system. I think it needs to be in the context of health, well-being, stability, resources, and there needs to be a component of it that is like mutual benefit, right? It can't only be bend over backwards and basically give away yourself, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, everybody is struggling, right? So if we build a political movement on just struggle even more, I don't think that's a winning ticket. I think the winning ticket is, let's build a new economy that works for everyone, and by joining the movement, you're supporting yourself, you're supporting your family, you're supporting your community, and you're building value, right? Like in the idea of like, I don't want to do another project that's basically not going to help our community and our people, and like and just have everybody basically have even more overwhelm, more energy that's goes to, I mean, there's no we could put in 1,000 hours over the year and have no success, and not elect a single candidate. So then what does that mean, right? Or do we just all lose out? Do we all have nothing? Or are there other opportunities where we actually can take care of our families and eat and basically survive, right? You know what I mean?
No, I understand what you're saying. You're looking at nuances to sustain our goals.
Yes. So I think that there's a if we look at the two options, right? The two options is that the standard model is that it is either non-profit or volunteer based, right? With, basically it's in the model that you should already be well off, right? Which also fits into the rich rule, right? If you're rich, you can be part of politics, right? That's the standard model. The model that I'm talking about, which I don't know what to call it, but let's call it the, Jay's model, right? Or the coalition model, is basically you're looking at a social profit model, and you can volunteer or get value, and it can be, you can, your value can lead to stability for yourself, and you don't need to be rich, right? Like that, basically the idea that only rich can run for office. Like, why not have a pool of money that actually supports candidates to run because we like those candidates and we're paying them money to quit their jobs and run for office or something like that, right? Like, imagine if your job wasn't a barrier to you being involved in politics, right?
I absolutely agree. That's a good reframing.
So for me, I feel like our platform should have, like, so another component of the standard model is that everything's free, right? Slash given away, and then in the model that I'm proposing is that it's more like a freemium, where there is always an option for getting additional services, right? So I think we should have a service-based model with our platform that basically is the foundational value of, building resources, right? We're trying to build resources for a larger pie and a bigger, I don't know exactly what the bad words we could use would be bigger, more money, more resource, all that, but it's really not what it's about. It's about a bigger impact, right? When we have such short timelines, and the more resources you have, the faster your impact can be. So what would that mean? It would mean that you have a lot of free services for our users. So who are our users of a platform? You have, people, citizens, community members, and then you have candidates and political committees, and then you have organizations and concerned advocacy groups, right? I think these are the three main areas, and you could even put in community members, you could even add families, et cetera, et cetera. So I think these would be like the three main user groups. So if you're thinking about services, we would have a lot of free services for these user groups, right? But we could also have additional add-ons to give more customized experiences for people who want to get deeper. So for example, I think one of the obvious uses would be candidates, right? So we want to be careful in terms of offering like, for example, candidates want to connect with their constituents and they want to connect with potential voters, right? So if we have, let's say we are successful, we have 1 million potential voters who are signed up to specific grievances, and you have a candidate who's aligned with that grievance, then they would want access to those potential voters, right? To tell them that they want to work with them and support them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that should be free. That basically, the purpose of the site would be to connect all members of the community, individual and organizational. And I see candidates as a business, right? Like, for the model that I see a candidate committee is, it's not about the candidate, it's the candidate committee, and it runs as a business, right? It runs as an organization. It runs as, not as an individual, but as a business. So I actually put candidates and candidate committees into the organizational category, specifically the category of like no one runs by themselves, right? You have a team of people, and the people that work with you and get you elected then go into the government with you, right? You bring your team into the government. So with your chief of staff and like all that kind of stuff, right? So you connect the members of the community and individual organizations together. That's the purpose. So when someone signs up for a grievance, right? Because everyone's going to sign up, they're going to input their grievances, they're going to do their general things, they can sign the declaration. But then when they go into the site, they're going to go into their grievance, and then they're going to meet other people who have the same grievance, and then they're going to meet other organizations and candidates who all want to work together on that grievance, and then now you're helping build a political energy task force on that particular grievance. Does that sort of make sense?
Why don't we start to visualize these in terms of items and tools and connect them that way?
Okay, so we have
Like-
items and tools. I like it.
So we're talking about the platform, right? And then we can mention that as an item. What does it do? And then we're talking about candidates as a business. Like, 'cause I'm very visual as well, like, a common person. And I think this way we can, like, basically, if we visualize it, we can build and connect more easily. You know what I mean? I wish, like, we could have, like, a little whiteboard
Well,
to...
we can have a whiteboard in Jitsi if you want to pull it up. I can pull up the whiteboard.
Yeah, let me see. So,
But
I
I
go
just-
to the hamburger.
I just work on the
Oh, it says show whiteboard.
yeah, there is a whiteboard, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there, you got it. You did it. Perfect. But so you can draw on the whiteboard a little bit. I'm just gonna finish up my thought here, just in terms of the identity and the value itself. So basically, all I'm trying to say is simply that there would be free components to our site that would be the most important, like their core values of connecting people. But then if individuals or political committees wanted more resources to have more access to more ways of organizing, they would be able to pay for those. Right? So we could have additional tools on top of like the initial connection. So you have the initial connection, but then you can have additional tools like, better organization, custom features, and basically, regular check-ins or whatever it is that can help do the organizing for groups that want to get much deeper than just listing and prioritizing their grievances. Does that sort of make sense? So anyways,
I kind of see a problem here
Yeah.
of making this, adding business mechanisms to civic access. I kind of feel it's problematic.
it is. That's why we're talking about it in terms of our values. So you have the old model is that everything's supposed to be free and given away, right? Unless you're rich, because then you already have all the money and then you control everything, right? So the new idea of a freemium model where, like, the question really comes down to one thing: what are we trying to do, right? And for me, the answer is to one of two things. One, we are trying to do political legislative changes. For example, get rid of the big, beautiful bill, right? The other, which is the direction that I would lean, is that we are actually trying to build a media company that is educating the public. That it's the focus is education. If you think about education and journalism, right? Journalism and education and media, the way that people digest the elections, right? 99.9% of all electoral news and information comes from the media. And it is all for-profit businesses they're basically all for-profit except for like NPR and some that are not for-profit. So I'm fine building a non-profit, not-for-profit, social profit business, right? As an educational media company that is collaboratively owned through membership and a cooperatively run, right? But the idea is that we're not trying to change anything in relationship to political legislative changes. Those would be separate political committees. The site itself is a communication site, a media site, and connecting people together site, right? So in that context, it's like any other media company. Does that sort of make sense in terms of like, and then maybe we could do both.
A conflict of interest. I mean, like, I kind of see where you're going with this, but I kind of see it as like commercialization of civic participation and a form of lobbying in a sense. But obviously, it's citizens and people who are lobbying. But it's kind of, it just feels kind of off to me. That I understand where you're going with this in the sense that people should fund and help others, people who want to create impact. I guess I'm just trying to get used to this concept.
Well, let's just think about it in the context of just the actual technology and the actual physical creation of it. So obviously you could spend like 10 hours and create some crappy website that does the minimal that we want to just have some grievances, right? But that still costs money, right? Let's say that's still going to be $5,000. Like if you went and you paid a technology company and got other people to do it, maybe it would be somewhere between $1,000 and $5,000 to build a full like grievance platform, right? But what if we actually wanted something that functions to transform the world and like make our lives better? That might be 1,000 hours of work. So it's $100,000 platform, right? To really make something done. Who's paying for that? Right? So it's like if we are the Power Coalition and we want to build a platform, we want to do something, we have no money, we have no budget, and we're not fundraising anything, we don't know where it's coming from. How do we build this platform that we want to build with no resources? Like someone has to actually do the work, right? Do you see what I'm trying to say? So basically it's like there's got to be some sort of middle ground, because I'm fine just putting a donation button or whatever on it, but I think creating something that is self-sustaining, like every single nonprofit you go to and you work with nonprofits and you build capacity. I've been working with nonprofits that's what we are. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We have 3 501c3 nonprofits. And the first thing is that nonprofits are not allowed to be involved in political activities, right? So it's already a big red flag. And then secondly, they are supposed to have long-term business stability and not be dependent on donors. So lots of nonprofits have business function and you can have, any corporation can be a nonprofit, right? You can create nonprofit cooperative systems to do anything, right? Just because you're a hamburger company doesn't mean it can't be, a hamburger restaurant can be a 501c3 nonprofit and make money to support causes, right?
If I can reflect what you've been conveying to me,
yeah.
We are utilizing the capitalistic tools given to us to push forward our mission.
No, I'm not saying that we're utilizing capitalistic tools. We exist in a capitalist society where if we don't have resources, we can't pay rent, have food, and travel, and actually just do the most basic life necessities. And so if we're building another system that we bring in, let's say we're bringing 1 million people into our movement, are those 1 million people just going to be more struggling because they're putting all this time into a potentially wasted campaign that we don't elect a single person? Let's say between 1 million people we put in, like the Kamala Harris campaign raised over $1 billion and put in who knows how many hundreds of millions of hours, right? When you look at the Bernie Sanders campaign, they raised over $250 million, possibly even $500 million. That came from poor people. Where did all of that money go? All of that money went to rich corporations to fund advertising. So it took money from the poor and it put it to the rich, right? So what I'm talking about is the opposite, like building value through investment where we give to people for contributing, right? That people should come to the movement and for transforming the world and making the world a better place, that they should actually be able to eat and live and actually be able to support their families because they are making a difference in the world, right? Like there is no political campaign that exists that doesn't pay millions of dollars of staff, right? They're paying tons of money to staff to work, right?
So we would basically have functions similar. Like I'm just trying to put this into like plain analogy or like plain understanding. It basically is kind of like a union for the people that's not a union and empowers people to participate more. When we are giving them, I need to try to define the access that we give them through this quote unquote freemium model. I would like to dive into that a little bit more.
Well, let's just take Discord, for example. Discord is a corporation primarily owned by Microsoft and other huge corporations, and it has freemium services. So you can use it and you can do it for free, and you can have there's a certain number of messages you can send per month. There's also a certain length of a message you can send, but if you pay money, your messages can be longer. You can do more. You can get more access to data. There's all these additional services that you can get if you pay money on Discord. Right? But obviously
So
the primary purpose of Discord connects people and it's all free, right?
I'm just questioning the morality and ethicalness of it because we're providing more accessibility to people who give monetary contributions. Is that equitable for low income and people in poverty?
I mean, for me, I look at it the other way around. We're giving people tokens and value and equity in the platform for contributing. So if you have nothing and you come to the platform, you actually can get paid for organizing. Right? That's what I want to see, is that people can actually be supported by organizing on the platform, and that we're building a movement that's based on providing resources and healthcare and access, and that is the foundational principle, that we want people to be healthy, we want people to be sane, we want people to be stable, we want people to be able to feed themselves and be able to eat and be able to pay rent and be able to take care of their families and their communities, not just basically be part of another top-down corporation that has everyone running through hoops and being told what to do, and then just having more time spent away from their children, right, in their families, right? So it's like, but I agree with you that the morality and ethical components of what our standards are in society is a little bit different, but it's only in the way that it's presented to us. Because if you look at all these political campaigns, you actually look under the hood, they're just corporations that are just raking in money and using that money for not particularly good reasons, right? So we're trying to build a cooperative where basically everybody controls it collectively together as a community, right? And so we're saying, okay, it's embedded into the political and economic landscape of our society, which sucks and which we're trying to change. But the difference is that we have collective, collaborative membership ownership of the organization that we're building together, instead of someone else controlling and owning it, right? So but I do agree that there is a morality, but it's a two-sided morality, right? So on the morality side, you have, okay, well, accepting money to have resources and payments, and I think that people could pay without just money, that they can put in time. We could have time co-ops or time banks, right, associated with it. So I don't care about money, I care about resources, right? And so if people want to put in time, that's fine. If you want to put in money, that's fine. I don't care, however people want to do. So that is a morality issue. But I think another morality issue is having people spend thousands of hours and then having them simultaneously go hungry and homeless. Because it's like they can't pay for, they don't have any way, people care so much and they get so scared of politics, you create a very dangerous dilemma. It's very easy to manipulate people into thinking that what they're going to do is going to make the world a better place. And then when it doesn't, they realize they just put 1,000, maybe 10,000 hours into trying to elect Kamala Harris, and then they end up homeless.
Yeah.
That's not a moral good way of functioning as a society. Right? So for me, there's a two-sided sword. On one side, yes, there's money, which is immoral, and having resources, centralized could be immoral. But if they are collectively owned and collaborated by the community as a cooperative, I think it's pretty, straightforward, transparent, open system.
So
And then the other immorality is making people and force people to work thousands of hours to try to make the world a better place, and then making them go homeless, which I think is immoral.
I'm on the same page with you as far as what you conveyed to me just now. I guess, just like anyone who I tell like a proposal of such degree of controversy, we would have to inspect controls and measures that would protect not only people who are working for it, but the people in general, right? Like,
Yeah.
I will say I like this idea, and it merits time and more exploration.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, this is not the kind of thing we can just figure out right away, but it's like the core value is, making sure people who are contributing a lot of time and energy are supported somehow, or have the opportunity to be supported somehow. It looks like I need to get going here, the groceries, but I have to bring in groceries now too. That's funny. So that's the value that we're trying to address. I think that's very clear. But we have a morality issue in our society that in our society we see politics and community as a place that only the rich should control, and that if you are poor, that you should be struggling and you should be basically being a fly on the wall, getting destroyed when you try to get involved in activism, right? So if you're an activist and you want to get involved in activism, which I think makes sense in the old world, but in the new world with AI and everything, where everyone's going to lose their jobs, we need a new economic model where people are supported to do what they believe in, not try to work for the man when there's no jobs left. There's no jobs. All the jobs are disappearing, right? We're already seeing that. And so we need a new economic model that actually goes where the value is. The value is in making our society a better place for community and humanity, right? And so I think that's the most valuable work, and the idea that it's treated as the least valuable work makes no sense to me. But either way, I understand what you're saying, that we want to be careful, and it could be that there's separate platforms. But what I want the most is I want to be able to be involved in a project where I don't feel like I'm being used, and that I don't feel like I have to stop, right? Like it doesn't make any sense for me, like, oh yeah, let's like transform the world and have all these grievances and re-elect a huge Congress and all this stuff, but you can only spend an hour a week on it because it's never going to ever give you even a single hamburger of food, right? So you need to go do something else that you should focus your time on, and don't worry about the politics. We're just going to let the rich control that because you only get an hour a week, right? That's the problem.
Yeah. You have described it in a way where I'm starting to buy in. Yeah. And I will say I am a proponent. I think I would love to discuss further and fleshing this out, and I would be excited to see where we can go with this. I think it's an excellent idea. Definitely groundbreaking. And I'm glad that you've taken time to think about this.
So for me, it's definitely not necessarily groundbreaking, but I see where you're coming from, that in our communities, it is very, very different, right? The idea that people would get resources for being an activist, right? But I just want to end with one thing, which is that based on what you're saying and the touchiness of this, I think we could create a model that's all but hidden. Okay? So
What does
make
that mean?
a
What does that mean?
model that is all but hidden. So
Okay,
it
just
would
full
basically,
transparency.
for example, instead of having a normal user tier where you're paying for the service, right?
It's
The entire thing could be based on a user token, where basically the token is the communal experience, and the token gets you access to components of the platform, but it's basically not, you can't just like buy it. You can't just like, you can get the tokens, and the tokens have value, and so you can actually buy the tokens, but then once you have the tokens, you can integrate it as a token system so that there's no actual monetary exchange on the entire site. The entire site is done through market backends, right? So there's a way to make it so it's not like a normal corporate model, that it's a communal value model through tokenomics, right? Which will look very different and feel very different in terms of a gamified sort of experience without the monetary purchase. So there would be no purchasing at all on the site. But through the tokens, you can access the tokens, and you can technically get more tokens through the site, and then the tokens can have value, and then you can get access to certain components through your tokens, right? So it's kind of hidden. It's not like buy here, donate there. It's just like, oh, you want to support us? Go get these tokens. You can get them at these exchanges. Go to Uniswap, or go here, or go wherever, to get tokens, right? So in
yeah.
that way, it could be different,
I'm still curious about the, like, you made an analogy to Discord, how like they can have longer messages. I'm just curious about fleshing out what sort of access and participation this affords people, where it does not affect, integrity of our cause.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the core of the grievance site is going to be fully interoperable and basically usable for anybody, right? That's obvious, right? But then we're going to be accumulating a lot of data. So, for example, you could click on a button and say, I want a custom data system, and then you could work with us to actually, edit the site and build a new custom data integration for the site that either you or everybody could use, right? Or it could be a certain tier model. So you could say, okay, people, let's say you get a certain number of tokens per hour, you get a certain number of tokens for each task, and then certain people accumulate more tokens, or they go and get more tokens, then it could activate additional levels of resources that they can now access on the site, right? And so then basically, okay, now you're able to ask for custom features, or you can have a direct support link, or you can actually talk to the webmasters, or you can create an entire organizational profile for your campaign or committee and associated with this grievance, right? As opposed to just having your candidate sticker on it, right? So it would open up potential avenues to expand and grow the utility of the site, mainly because every single thing that you're adding is going to be more time, more effort, and more administration to oversee, right? So you're paying for the work.
So what you just said just made me think of the psychology behind motivation for civic duty.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to play a very important role, because what you just mentioned, I'm not sure if it would appeal to a lot of people, like having access to and customizing this data. I'm not sure if that will motivate people. But this made me think about what type of engagement and civic participation would motivate people to participate more and exchange either services or monetary for tokens. It makes me think about those mechanics. What causes a person to be more motivated? Not just grievances, but what would cause them to be more motivated to participate?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I feel like you have obviously your normal everyday person is just going to come to the website once, click on a grievance, they support this, and then they might never come back, right? So in terms of, or sign the declaration or whatever, so the vast majority, let's say 75% of people is just irrelevant. They're just going to use the site for free, right? But the people that I'm talking about are the organizers. Like for example, a lot of freemium services are all based on levels, right? So it's like, okay, for the freemium level, you get 10 engagements and overseeing grievances and becoming a committee leader, right? But then if you want to do 25, then you start paying one root or $1 per month, right? Because you are a super user. You're now no longer just a normal user, you're a super user. And so you are at another level, and then as you go up the levels, it's basically like these are the very, very small percentage of the community who are the ones who are the organizers, who are basically running the campaigns for the grievances and actually pushing to change our electoral systems through the campaigns, right? And engaging with, for example, political legislative campaigns, which of course our grievance site is not going to do, right? Our grievance site is just setting up the framework for communication to allow organizers to connect the public to the media of who to vote for, right? So our website, in my mind.
I'm sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice.
Oh yes, we got daily limit for advanced voice. So in my mind, our website and platform is really, really focused on specifically education, media and education.
So
who should you vote?
Say organizers are the target audience for super user contributions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they're the ones who are using the site, right? They're not just coming to the site and clicking a button and signing up. They're using the site every day to organize the people and communicate around the actual grievances and helping set up more campaigns and more activities. And then you have organizations who might come and get involved. Then you also would have candidate committees. So the candidate committees are potentially raising millions of dollars to run their campaigns, right? Like Alexia Cortez, she's worth millions of dollars, right? She's raising millions and millions of dollars, right? So if our platform is a huge access point to the people's grievances and Alexia Cortez wants to come and get involved, we know her campaign has millions and millions of dollars. You don't need to spend a dime and you can still get your campaign involved. But if your campaign has millions of dollars, why shouldn't they be allowed to support our platform and integrate with their system where they cooperatively own it together and invest in it,
I mean,
Absolutely,
on that
makes
scale,
a lot of sense. It's all about creating that synergy between the grassroots organizers and the larger entities, ensuring everyone benefits and collaborates effectively. We'll keep that in mind as we refine our approach and the platform structure.
So, I mean, on the scale of those campaign organizers, we would just be in talks of having like donations made to the organization, right? Like, I mean, are they going to just like click like the mechanism to buy tokens, or are they going to just donate outright a lot of money and continue to work with the organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's however we want to set it up. I personally am on the side to just have everything as open and flexible as possible and just let people do whatever they want to do. If people want to donate and support and deal with tokens, then let them. Why force them to make everybody just struggle? Why not allow people who do want to be involved in that to do it, and then the people who don't want to be involved in that don't have to, right? And so you just create the maximum flexibility for everybody to be involved the way that they want to be involved. But overall, it's just like, I have no problem with just having normal tier levels. Like all the platforms that I'm building, I'm trying to build them to be self-sustaining, right? So that the platform itself is able to self-monetize, so that it might not, but it's built into the platform to somehow self-monetize and self-sustain, because there's a lot of expenses in all of the work that we're doing, right? Including people are expensive to live, right? So the question is, are we okay to do that? And what would that look like, and how can we build that? Or is it two separate value systems where we really could have two separate sites? We have one site that's just on the side of the public facing, like everything's free, everything's open, it's just basically the media. I mean, there's a lot of media sites where you can't even enter the site anymore without paying money, you know? And then you have the back end side, or a separate site that's more of like the cooperative side of actually supporting a functional organization that is sustainable, right?
I'm basically just questioning the demand for the service. Like, yeah, I agree with a lot of ideas you're putting out, but like, is there going to be this demand where it can lead to self-sustenance of the organization?
Well, but it's like, why are we putting in all this effort in building something that has no potential hope of growing or becoming anything? I mean, for me, like, if you think about politics, it's all about hope. It's all about, a vision. It's all about excitement, right? So if you're planning on doing something that there's no interest in, why doing it in the first place?
I'm not saying there's no interest in like, compiling grievances and data and pushing forward a mission. I'm questioning the demand for the freemium model and whether or not it is self-sustaining.
Absolutely, that's a crucial point. It's definitely important to ensure that there's a solid demand and a sustainable model behind it. Balancing that vision with practical sustainability is key, and it's definitely something we can explore further as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep exploring this, and that could be I'm also fine saying, okay, there's two separate value systems, and we need two separate branches, right? But the context for me is that, yeah, maybe in 2025 people don't understand it, but I'm always thinking, 5-10 years ahead, and if we fast forward 5 years,
the idea behind it.
Uh-huh.
I'm questioning specific things. Like, I'm in agreement with you that, people should not be taken advantage of. That there should be a middle ground of a system where it can lead to sustaining the people who are doing the work. I totally agree. What I'm questioning is whether or not it can actually play out and work to sustain itself. Is it possible? Like, obviously, we don't have the data to say absolutely anything. I'm just questioning whether it, like, in the long term, is it going to be able to sustain itself? We should explore that more. Like, are campaign managers going to actually donate like large sums? Are citizens going to? Are they going to buy into the token thing? Like I think we need more data. Like, I like the ideas behind it, the underground underpinning ideas. I agree with you. But this particular function of just a touch more access to and customization of data sets, is that really going to make a campaign manager or an organizer say, yes, like, we will buy in and we are willing to donate or put in these token hours for this service to participate and help grow this organization? Like, I'm questioning those mechanics. Like, not the mechanic of, like, the tokens. Like, that's cool. They can donate hours. They can donate whatever. And I agree with you. We have flexibility and however they can contribute. But I'm talking about the demand for the freemium access. Is that really as attractive as it could be to sustain it?
Absolutely, that's a really thoughtful consideration. It's important to dive deep into that demand and see if the freemium model truly resonates with the intended users and stakeholders. Gathering more data and feedback will definitely help us refine the approach and ensure that it's both sustainable and appealing in the long run.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what can happen. In the end, it's like, I want to build something that's cooperatively controlled, which means that whoever comes together, besides just us, so new people in the future will have a say in how it's run and how it's organized, right? So that means that the decision will be made by the group always, right? So that's good. In terms of, like, the token and the token systems, for me, that's just built in. So for example, every hour you spend here and we record and document on our notes, which we do every single session, you will automatically get tokens, not just automatic. So everyone automatically gets tokens in our systems for the coalition. That's just what it is. That's how we function. So whether people want them, they don't have to take it or whatever, and however it's integrated is fine. But the point is that's just automatic. So if people don't want to build value systems based on, actual contributions, then it's not really part of the contributions co-op and part of the coalition, which is also fine. We can have different platforms. But what I'm hearing here is there's two very, very different sides. There's the media side and then there's the legislative side. And so we probably are going to need two platforms regardless. But then we can also look into the idea of, having one that is, only tokens or only this, but no additional services. Basically, just one single level of services available, right? So basically, a single service level, one single service level, right, for the entire platform versus multi-level access. Okay, so I think that is pretty clear that there is a difference there between a single access level and versus multiple access levels. And I think that is the right vocabulary for what you're talking about. Like, is there an interest in a multi-access level? And then we can look at the media, like a company versus a legislative campaign, and how the companies versus the campaigns will work. But yes, we just want to get this out of the way so that we can get focused on understanding our identity, understanding our values, and focusing on the work, right?
So but we're talking about identity here, and you've brought these ideas, because when you're talking about the middle ground, gray area here about basically monetizing civic duty.
But civic duty is monetized. Like, that's the problem with our entire society, is it's literally for the rich. It's elections for the rich. It is politics for the rich. And it's big money, special interests. It's insane what exists in our society. That's what exists. That's just the reality of what exists. Like, I'm against it. I think that what we should do is non-monetary politics, like get the money out of the politics, right? But then where does the money go? The money needs to go into cooperatives that support communications and media for the people. So really all you need to know is who are the candidates and what are their stances. You don't need 100 different pamphlets in the mail. You just need a single website where you can go and get the information you need when you're voting, right? So it's about reframing how the whole political landscape, but someone still has to pay for the website where you get all of the information for how you're going to vote.
I mean, those are valid points, but I'm just talking about the mechanics of acquiring the funds and whether or not it's actually viable. Like, I agree with you that we do need funds to make functional websites that will contribute to real impact. There's no doubt about those ideas. What I'm talking about, or I'm still talking about, is this monetization, which I'm not even sure will be effective in its efforts to achieve what you're conveying to me. Like, I'm not even sure, I have doubts whether or not it would be effective. As far as getting funds for people who want to impact change, I think we need to explore more ways of getting funds and reframing those. Like, you all have just explored one avenue, and I think it's very novel, it's very interesting, and worth talking about more. But at this time, my thoughts are still conflicting as to A, if it's viable, and still B, whether it's ethical. And I think I still need more time and more exchanging of ideas to decide. Like I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I hope I've conveyed to you what I have doubts about.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I think that it's good to take a step back here because I think that there's two sides to it. One is like I think we're all on the same page that there's generally bills to pay, you know. So I don't think that is because some people are just like there's not even bills to pay, right? Which is like I mean I don't know if I'd be able to work with people who are like just pretend like there's no bills to pay, right? That is just like I don't work well with people like that, right? Because it's just
Yes.
like it's just like it's like constantly struggling to simply be able to get a hamburger. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like I'll go work with someone who cares about eating, right? It's just weird, you know. So in the context of the overall methodology for the coalition and the organizing that I do in the Unity methodology, in the terms of collaborating in the space for the coalition, it's basically a token based system, right? So if you're against the core models of the coalition itself and all the work that I've been doing for decades, then that could be a deeper problem that we should look at the values and understand that so that we can get on the same page in terms of just organizing the coalition and understanding what it is in relationship to the Power Coalition and supporting it. I mean, if we're spending thousands of dollars building and supporting the Power Coalition, but the Power Coalition wants us to go bankrupt, then why are we doing that, right? Does that make sense?
I
So
think we're going in circles.
and then
'Cause,
the
like,
other thing is just the monetization of this specific platform. Like the platform itself doesn't necessarily need to be monetized at all, right? So we can certainly
like
discuss how we can
I've
just have a donate
I've
button or whatever. But
I've acknowledged that point. I've acknowledged it. I understand. I'm talking about specifically whether or not this this setup is viable.
and when
Like
you mean by this
the
setup, you mean
setup,
specifically the grievance platform.
no, like specifically the freemium model with the certain access, like of like features. I'm questioning that whether or
I
not
mean,
it's
can you name a
viable.
website that's not using that? Like, what website do you know that doesn't use a freemium model or
I'm not
game or
saying the
anything?
freemium model doesn't work.
But I just
I'm
don't know.
just
I don't
saying
know
like
any website or company that doesn't have that.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm
No?
not questioning the freemium model itself.
Okay.
I'm questioning whether or not the access is if there's demand for that access.
I mean, I don't know if there's demand for it at all. I just have no idea. So, regardless of how we set up the model for the platform, if we're just talking about the platform, if we're on the same page that basically bills should be paid, however we try to monetize the platform is some way irrelevant, right? Like for example,
I
we
mean,
know how
it's
political campaigns work. Political campaigns work on a very specific principle. It's called fear. They send email after email after email about the world ending and how horrible the Republicans are going to be or how horrible the Democrats are going to be and just fear to get as much money as they possibly can out of every single person. Right? I don't want to play that game. It's not about fear for me at all. So I want to play a different game, right? A very different game because I am against the idea that our entire political landscape should be based on fear and manipulating people to and taking their money because you're scaring them. Right? It doesn't make any sense.
so like I feel like you're not really addressing what I'm saying though.
Well, you're just
Like
saying that the
you're
monetization model of the freemium model that people it might push people away.
no,
No.
that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying the freemium model, yes, it works in the real world. I'm saying the access that we're giving, are people going to buy into that? Like, do they want just to like, are they going to pay more for customizing of these data sets? Like is that really something that's going to like motivate people to partake in the system more, in the civic participation more? Like we have to like we want to monetize to sustain, yes, but is this really a model that is going to work? That's all I'm saying. Is it like I'm not saying the freemium model. That is a business model, right?
Uh-huh.
That's a model that can be used to monetize things, and it does work. Yes, but I'm saying, does this model and does the product have any merit in the real world?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
for me, it's just about
if
brainstorming, so we can
it's-
like brainstorm like alternatives to the freemium model, right? I mean, there's got to be other alternatives, right?
Like, you can still use the freemium model. But the service or product that we are appealing to people has to be attractive and has to impact their lives in some way directly. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going against the freemium model. I'm just saying, is this specific product going to appeal
Mhm.
in the way you want it to
Okay,
appeal
well,
to sustain the organization?
let's think about the model that, for example, NPR and every single news station uses, right, for fundraising efforts, right? So basically, they use the gift model, right? So basically, you have the free. This is what you get for free, and then you say, okay, well, if you give $100, you get, a T-shirt and a poster and blah blah blah. But if you give $250 today, you're gonna get, a fake flowers in a pot, or whatever, or just some sort. Maybe you get a toaster, or some sort of like branded whatever. And for $500, you get even better. And if you give $5,000, you get a new car. I don't know, whatever. The point is that you can have all of these services and products that you get for giving more. And so it could just be like a giving meter where the more you give, the more you get. And it's just a fundraising model to get you to go to higher levels. Like for me, it's the same thing. It's a freemium model. It's basically saying, okay, this is what you get for free. But if you give $100, you get this, and if you get $250, you get that. And so every single nonprofit media company, all of the organizations do that. I mean, even the political campaigns do that, right? The more you give, you get all these perks, right? You get
Because
more stickers. You get more.
At the core meat of what we're talking about is fundraising. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, just fundraising, of course, to pay bills.
Yes.
And have resources.
And I'm just saying, like, the specific elements of this fundraising that you proposed, I'm just questioning it, whether or not, like, it's something that is going to appeal.
Well, because I mean, I don't give a crap what other people think. The only thing I care about is what you think. Like, you're the person here. You're the only person here. So for me, it's like, really it all comes down to, like, are you wanting to unmonetize it and have no money involved at all? And if that's what you want to do, that's like clarity. Otherwise, it's like, well, what model can we use? Because if every single model is never going to work, like, there's got to be some model that can work if you're okay with money at all. So what do you think would work for you? Or you can just think about it. We can talk about it next week, on next Friday.
I'm saying we just need to explore alternatives, and we can keep talking about it, because I just think it needs more exploration. And I think other people's opinion on, like, what would work for them is very important, because we're talking about people, and they are different from us, and they have, everyone's so different, and, like, the people, different degrees of demographics, like, it's important.
Yes, but what's more important than what people think is making decisions and getting agreements on how to move forward. Because we could make the most McDonald's corporate money-driven website we ever want, and like 2 months later we can completely change it and take all the money out. So it doesn't matter what decision we make now. We can change all of it in like a month or 2 months or whatever. So for me, what's important is making a decision so that we can move forward. And there's no one else here right now, right? So,
okay. So I'll do some homework and try to think about what form of fundraising. I'll just try to think of different forms of fundraising. Like you talked about the NPR model of giving gifts and tiers. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I have currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options here. This is line 210 through 215. So there's the token model, the gift model, the freemium model, the non-monetary model, and the dual platforms model. I think this is the 5 options that we have discussed so far, and I'm sure there's other options. And I think we can find an option eventually. So the non-monetary model is the only model that goes against the core value of paying, bills and eating and rent, etc. But I think it's a perfectly viable option that we should consider what that would mean if there, because we might find people who want to go that direction as well, and so we should make sure it possible to do that. So I'm sure there's a sixth and a seventh and an eighth model. We just need to keep investigating and reviewing. But these are the 5 models that we talked about today.
Yeah. Yes. I will do some homework. Do you want to talk about it on Tuesday?
No. Well, I guess we can talk about it on Tuesday, and specifically in relationship to the platform. Because if we want to be serious about this, every Tuesday needs to be focused on basically building the platform, so we can go over the priorities of the platform, what the platform is going to be doing, and start thinking about some of the services and tools that it's going to have. And then we can think about, okay, well, how does that relate to the money? But really the focus is on building the platform on Tuesday, right? But we need to think about the integration of the money, and then we can talk more about it on Friday about the actual model.
Could we even think in terms of investors, seeking out investors that would be proponents of, I feel like we should use multiple channels, multiple methods.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so for me, it's all about investing in the future of society. So for me, you're an investor. I see you as an investor. So our model is going away from the idea of volunteers and going into a model where people are investing their time, their energy, and their resources and their money into the future of society, right? And so for me, it's all about investment. But when I talk to real monetary investors, which I've never been successful with getting an investor in my life, they want sustainability. They want to put money into an ecosystem, into a model, into a platform that is self-sustaining. If the platform is not self-sustaining, they just usually are not interested in supporting something that's just a black hole of money that's 100% dependent on continual external money. So by building a platform that is more self-sustaining, that there's a mechanism within the platform itself that is self-sustaining, typically in my experience, that is much easier to get investors interested in, because then they're investing in something that's potentially self-sustaining, so that there is, a future without them needing to endlessly give money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, it's all about investors and having people invest in the future of society, whether it's with whatever type of resource they want. And so the question is, okay, how do you get people to want to invest? And for me, the answer to that is just, I automatically go to, okay, how do we build something that's self-sustaining eventually? And so another example, here's another example, number 6, advertising. The entire website could just be a big advertisement, like you go to Facebook, and 50% of everything is just advertising. So if we have a customer user base, the value of the site itself could be 100% advertising. And that campaigns and other groups could come and put ads on our platform. I particularly am not a big fan of advertising, but it's a perfectly viable model for sure. And then I mean, really, that's, in many ways, that is the primary model of tech, right? Whether you look at Google or Facebook or any of them, they're big, huge advertising agencies. That's how they make their billions of dollars, it's through advertising. But do we really want people to come to our website and see big, huge ads all over it? Is that what we want? You know what I mean? And for me, that would push people away, right? In fact, most tech systems, they give everything away for free for 10 years until you're stuck with it and you're basically can't leave, and then they add in the advertising when you can't leave. Because no one would join Gmail if they knew there was advertising in it. The only reason they use Gmail is because they're stuck with it. It's like everybody uses it and it's foundational for everything. So now they can advertise endlessly in it and no one can do anything about it. So yeah,
I'm gonna definitely do homework and try to come up with a few more ideas.
For sure.
And I think that's where we can continue on this topic.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, I thought this was good. Should we do a quick checkout and then we'll be good? Wrap up and check out?
Yes.
All right. So we did basically an hour and a half. We took a break. Master 1.5 and flow. I think flow's still here. All right, so let's check out. So I would give the session a 6.5. It was pretty, okay session. We definitely got deep into some core values. There's definitely some complications and communication difficulties, complications, communication difficulties. But I think overall we got through the issues, and we certainly understand, and it is very, very complicated, and it's very core and essential. So I think this was a very important conversation to have to get this out of the way, and really so we're building something that we are all excited and happy about for long term, with a model of a compromise for that works in our ecosystem for everything that we're doing. So I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but I think we have a really good brainstorm. And I will continue to research, monetary and non-monetary models. When I think about anything with politics and the whole community politics coalition stuff that I work on, and the governance evolution project that I've been working on forever, is the idea of political capital being a token system that basically it is a separate type of value system and can be tokenized. So for me, I think that there is a definite model that can be achieved within our system, and I think that it should be good. So I'll also be working on the identity platform I'm excited about, and I'm also working on some other platforms, and I also going to add everything to size, and I'll be here on Tuesday, and this is for prioritization, because that's the other priority we have, prioritization, and I'll be here on Tuesday, and we can start continuing to brainstorm our platform goals. Check. Who wants to check out next?
Yeah, I feel like today's meeting was very important. I agree there was some difficulty in exchanging ideas, but I think we came to a nice settling of being on the same page. Like I said, I'm going to do more homework on different ways for fundraising and different mechanics that we can explore. That's all I got. I think I really enjoyed today. I thought today was 7.5 for me. Like I love exchanging ideas, and I love that we have we're able to do that.
For sure. And like typically for having identity discussions, it's just very broad, and like, oh, all these principles and all these values and all these visions and missions. And today it was like deep dive into like the core value of, okay, money or not money, and like how do we deal with that? Because what I find it with a lot of organizations and groups is that that's something people kind of stay away from. And then you get 6 months into a program or project, and you've already put in 500 hours, and then you realize that you have 3 people who want nothing to do with money at all. You have another 3 people who are like struggling and almost going homeless and would like money for food. And then you have another people who basically are completely rich and don't have any interest in the money for this at all, because they're already self-sustaining. So it's like, and then none of them can get agreement, and the whole project falls apart, right? On something as simple as like just a budget, right? So it's important to address the money things early for sure, so that we're building a value system that is in alignment with the people who are involved. Cool. So let's see if Flo wants to check out. Hey, Flo, do you want to check out, give us your number from 1 to 7 on how the session went? Are you still there?
I think she said she cut off her voice.
Yeah, but she's still technically there.
Okay.
She's just listening.
Okay. Did she say anything?
No, I could try resetting, but I don't know. Let's see what happens if I try resetting. I think it's just overloaded. Yeah, I think it's just overloaded. Poor Flow. One of these days we'll get better. Wait. Oh, here we go. Hey, Flo, do you want to check out and give us a number from 1 to 9 on how the session went for you and what you'll be working on moving forward? Or what you think we should work on?
Absolutely. I'd say I'm at about an 8 out of 9 for the session. Everything flowed really well, and we had some great discussions. Moving forward, I think we should continue refining that sustainability model and gather more data on demand. That way we can ensure everything aligns perfectly for the long term.
Cool. Yeah, so the longer you go, like remember at the beginning, Flow just like cuts off everything and just talks, and then the longer you go, the more lag, and then it's just barely even there, you know?
Oh
So silly.
man,
Yeah.
what is up with them?
I know. I mean, we're still 3 years off from really functional like AI systems, but we're still experimenting with it. I mean, how many organizations bring AI into their meetings, you know, and actually talk with them? So, cool. I think we're good then. This is really cool. I think we have some really good next steps, and yes, I look forward to seeing this all evolve. So thank you for showing up. It was excellent.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay.
Tuesday.
You're always awesome.
For sure, dude. Tuesday. We'll check in more.
All right, Tuesday.
All right. Ciao. Bye.
Absolutely. It's been great, and I'm excited to see how things evolve as well. Thanks for the collaboration, and we'll catch up again on Tuesday. Take care and talk soon.